Hello, and welcome to Addicted Like Us, a podcast discussing all things written by Krista and Becca Ritchie. I'm your host, Haley, and today I have Rowena, aka Millennium Baby Gal Reads, with me to talk about Thrive, Book 6 in the Addicted series. This is the second part of the Thrive discussion, so make sure to listen to part 1 before you listen to this one. A quick recap. I'm Haley, a longtime reader and lover of Krista and Becca's work. I'm also a part-time illustrator, and I had the privilege of working on the special edition covers for the Like Us series. Now, I just love to spend my time talking about all of my favorite books, aka anything written by Krista and Becca. So, the Addicted Like Us podcast was created so I could sit down with friends and discuss all of our thoughts. So now let me reintroduce you to Rowena.
Lovely people. I am back again. I'm waiting for the, oh, not her again. I'm back. Yeah.
We always want you here.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of make it shorter, I've made Krista and Becca's work my entire life. Exhibit A, B, C, D.
We love to see it.
But yeah, I'm trying to keep these quite short. I'm like, Rowena, you don't need to tell your whole life story.
It's okay. It's a long podcast. We'll get into the life story as we talk about the book, I'm sure. So another quick recap about what we talked about in the last podcast. We started talking about Thrive, which is basically it is Lillian Lowe's perspective on what happened during the Kiss the Sky and Hothouse Flower books. So first, we went through part 1, which was the time after Addicted for Now, but before Kiss the Sky, which was seeing Lillian Lowe kind of adjusting to the constant media presence. They had a really bad fight and one day agreed that they were going to ditch the rules and just do what felt right to them and not tell anyone, not their therapists, not their family. So they've been keeping this secret about ditching Lily's blacklist. And then they started filming for the reality show, Princesses of Philly. And I think that's about as short as I can make it. It's so hard not to just be like, and then this happened, and then this happened, and this happened. But yes, so that is the long and short of it. We ended with Lowe and Connor finally back on good terms again. They had a little bit of a fight, but they're back on more solid ground. So one other thing, a quick spoiler warning. If you have not read Thrive, please do not listen to this. You should be listening to this after listening to part 1, where I've already issued this warning, but you get another one. We don't want anyone making any tiny mistakes and getting spoiled.
I mean, I even have to try hold myself in when I see parallels, and I'm like, and then I'm like, no, Rowena.
I know.
The time.
Bite your tongue, Haley. You cannot talk about these future things. Okay, so let's dive back into Thrive. We are at chapter 26. So this is Lillian Lowe. They have gone to a bookstore and they're Lily's feeling a little stressed and off and anxious because there are so many people in this bookstore just watching them, taking pictures of them, and they're very much on display. They're also being filmed. One of the cameramen is following them around for the reality show. So Lily pulls Lowe into the bathroom just for some privacy. And then she asks him if she can give him a blowjob. And he says no.
The whole thing, like, the privacy is completely out the window. It's like they are in, like, yes, they're in a public setting, but it's like they've gone to the bathroom, and I think it's Brett is, like, pounding on the door, and it's just like...
Yeah, she goes, I'm peeing!
And it's just like, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter if you're on a reality TV show. You still don't need to join them in the bathroom.
Nope.
You might be missing some juicy gossip, or you might be missing something that's just, like, not...
Someone's bodily function.
Like, it's just like, it's not relevant for television, but...
Nope.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's like, can I give you a blowjob? No, you're right. You're so right. Blowjobs are so 89.
I feel like Daisy needs to have that on a t-shirt. Like, I feel like she would walk around with the t-shirt being like, blowjobs are so 89.
She would 100% wear a t-shirt like that. But yeah. So she apologizes, realizes that was not something she should have asked, and that's kind of the end of that chapter. But
Yeah.
important to note, we probably already recognize it if you've read Kiss the Sky at this point. So we get into the next chapter. The group has returned from the Alps trip that they went on in Kiss the Sky. They went to the Alps for a ski trip, for a spring break trip. And that was when Rose lost her virginity to Connor. And she has told everyone, or like she's told her family and friends at this point. So Lily is like freaking out. She wants all of the details of what happened. Did it hurt? Did you like it? Have you done it again? It's like one thing that Lily is kind of an expert on, and she can finally like kind of talk about it with her sister.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it's something that she feels like she can finally relate to Rose. Like, we're on, like, I mean, also, I kind of think that as, like, you know, that could have been, I mean, I'm not sure because I'm, like, 4 years older than my sister, but, like, that, if they were teenagers and they were closer when they were teenagers, that kind of way that she's, like, speaking, like, the hurry, like, oh my God, did this happen? And what was it like?
Yeah.
Like, they would have had that sort of discussion if they were closer when they were teens. So it's like they're kind of having that teenage,
they get that moment now,
sisterly moment now, which is very sweet and endearing. But it's kind of like, oh, okay. Again, it's just because like my sister and I are very close, but we don't need to know the ins and outs.
Yeah, and
yeah.
Part of it is also that like Lily is a sex addict, so there are certain things that maybe she shouldn't be diving too much into detail with. But yeah, so she just wants all the details from Rose's first time. They are also currently at a bowling alley because production wanted to do a group outing for them to film, and also just another little thing for us to hate about production. Rose gives this offhanded mention that she hates. It's like a hygiene thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, as someone who's also very with germs, the whole thing of bowling balls, like, because you have to stick your... Okay, again, I'm sorry, Lily. I have to stick my fingers into certain crevices that are icky.
Yeah.
Shoes. Rose with her own pair of shoes. I should have done that the one time I did it. But then I vowed never again.
So just another thing for us to fucking hate about, like, as if we didn't already have things to dislike about Scott. We're just learning these new additional details of him needling the character, all of these other characters, and it's just
what's the term? Like, you should employ it, or something. That the whole thing of like taking pleasure in someone else's discomfort. Like he goes, right, you really like this. You know what I love to see? Seeing you uncomfortable, more views, more money for me, whatever. Like he's exploiting them.
Yeah.
In the worst way possible.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. So Rose does share that she has slept with Connor since the trip, and then she bends down to grab a bowling ball, and her like hair falls away, and Lily catches a bite mark on her neck, and she goes, oh, "He bites you!"
Like my one doesn't do that.
It's not that she's trying to kink shame at all, but she says she's surprised by the idea of Connor being rough with Rose in bed. I thought he was the sweet, gentle type, like a friendly giant.
Yeah.
Like, I can see why maybe she'd have that perception, but also just knowing Connor at this point the way we do, I'm like, no, so far from that.
Just gotta go a little bit wild sometimes, Lil. Like, you know. But yeah, because
he's a man that likes control.
They do. They're very controlled. I guess on the outside they look like a more conservative couple. So then when she's just like, "What, you slept with each other maybe once, maybe twice, and you're already at the biting stage," like, yeah. So it's not a it's not a kink shame thing. It's almost like she's in awe. Like she's just like, "I didn't know you had it in you, babe."
No.
Like,
Learn
she's
new
just like, I
things.
now see another side of you, which I don't know how to
Exactly.
think about that right now. She's having to go through a lot of adjustments.
Yeah, I know. I just had to wrap my mind around the fact that you finally had sex and now we're at this new stage.
It's like, oh my god.
Yes. So also we learn that Daisy's boyfriend Julian is joining them for bowling. And we already know about Julian from Kiss the Sky, but Lily reiterates what we already know, which is that everybody fucking hates Julian, but they are all trying to put on a happy face so that they're not feeding into the drama that production clearly wants from them. So meanwhile, the guys are all sitting together and they're just hating on Julian. Reich's like, I can't be nice to him. And Connor's needling Reich, but they all just fucking hate Julian that he is joining them at all.
They
And
can see it's bad vibes, and they are a
yeah,
tight knit group, and they can't deal with someone trying to, there's a disturbance in the force, and someone needs to deal with it.
we have the core six, and Julian's over here being a seventh wheel and just get the fuck out.
Like, yeah, you can sit with us.
No, he can't. But then Brett is trying to film Lo, and Lo snaps at Brett, and Connor and Reich can tell that Lo is kind of on edge right now, that like he's riding a line. But Lo is really mad at production because like during the Alps trip, they Scott tried to give Lily a DVD of Magic Mike, but as we discussed in Kiss the Sky, that can be considered a trigger for Lily and her compulsion. So they really don't want her watching that. And they're mad that Scott was trying to tempt her with that. And he also mentions that Lily and Lo caught the cameramen trying to sneak porn into their room, which was something that we had not known because this is something that they're keeping secret from the rest of the group. But they're trying to make the group like think that they're regressing in a way that they're not, and Lo is really mad at them for trying to mess with their relationships and trust with their family. So
Yeah.
he's on edge.
Yeah, because it's not even that they're necessarily concerned about, I guess, what the public will think of them, because Lowe's very much like, fuck them. Like, whatever, the people will think what they think, but it's more so the damage that it can do with these people, like, this grouping of people who they're the only ones that they can trust. It's like, if you skew the perception that, the others have on them, like, they're fucked. Their support system is
Yeah.
gone.
They are the most important people in their lives, and messing with that is
It's evil.
unacceptable.
It's malicious. In
Yes.
my opinion. There might be a strong opinion, but I think it's malicious.
I think it's a correct opinion. So they wind up splitting into different groups because Daisy and Lily want to play with bumpers on the lanes. And there are certain people who think that bumpers are for babies.
Respectfully, don't care.
Nope.
My aim,
I will never get a strike otherwise.
I still don't think I got a strike. I did almost whack someone with a bowling ball with it shooting the other way, though.
Oops.
And I went, you know what? I think I should just sit down for the rest of this.
So yeah, Lily and Daisy are going to like the fun lane, and Reich decides that he's going to join them too. So it's a team up between Rose and Connor and Lo and Julian, which is just, he's trying to be nice because Rose is like, we need to make this easy on Daisy and also don't give production what they want. But I mean, Lo just hates Julian. He is a prick. We know that Julian says that he's only with Daisy so that he can sleep with her the day that she turns legal, which is just disgusting. So like, yeah, we don't like him. I'm trying to push us through these interactions with him.
Grinding my teeth. I'm just like, Rowena, just pipe down. We do not have time to, like,
We can't waste all of our time talking about Julian.
not worth anyone's time. So it's just like,
Exactly. Yeah. So then Julian eventually spots the other group. They're having a lot of fun to the point that like Reich is holding Daisy upside down while they're playing, and he storms over there and tells Reich that he needs to stop touching his girlfriend, and it devolves into a fight. And Daisy decides that it's best if she just leaves to try and break up the tension. So the sisters are all going to leave together. We see again that Julian really doesn't like Reich. He thinks Reich has the hots for Daisy, and really wants to fight Reich too. And we see Lo kind of protecting Reich from Julian and defending him. Like, you're not going to fight my brother, Julian. Go away. Also, we see, I didn't really talk about it and Kiss This Guy too much, but Lo also fucking hates that Julian shares a name with one of his favorite comic book characters.
But I'm the same though. I really can't judge him on that. I'm very much like name association person. I still remember a teacher in school destroying a name for me because I was one of those people. I had like lists of names that I loved, and he was like, "I got to tell you about this person." I went, "Sir, respectfully, I love that name. You got to cut it." And he continued to tell the story, and just partway through that class, I went to my notes app and went, "Delete,
delete, delete, delete."
I can't. Like, it's just like, you're not. And I love the name that he decides to use instead.
Yes, he calls him Julius. Which, yeah, it's petty Lo. We love to see it. And then it ends with Lo saying that between Scott and Julian, he's reached his limit on dealing with people that he doesn't like. We're all reaching that limit. We are tired of these shitheads. So then one night, Lily and Lo are reading comics in the living room at the townhouse, and Connor comes home and brings Rose upstairs. And if you've read Kiss the Sky, you will probably recognize the conversation that Rose and Connor are having, so you know what's coming next. Really fast before it happens, Lily is reading through some comments that the fans are making about the show, and she notices that all of the fans have really rude things to say about her by herself. But when they talk about her in the context of being with Lo, they're all super supportive. So it's like, it's happy because there is support for her and her relationship with the man she loves. But also it's like, nobody loves her by herself for being herself. It's only in the context of being with someone else, which is...
It's heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking. So then Rose calls Lily and Lo upstairs so that they can talk with her, Connor, and Reich. And when they get up there, the whole thing is laid out that they found a bottle, that there were alcohol bottles that Rose and Connor had in their bedroom, and they wound up finding them empty in Lily and Lo's closet. And they want to know, did Lo drink? Lily starts to defend Lo because she's like, no, he's on antabuse. If he drank, we'd know. We'd see him throwing up. And he feels so bad because, as we discussed in part 1, Lo stopped taking antabuse and did not tell anybody. And then it's just like this complicated thing where, like, they clearly trusted him enough to not count his pills, because that was something that Reich had been doing in Addicted for Now. We saw him counting his pills, just because that was kind of like the start of Lo's recovery coming out of rehab. So, like, trust wasn't totally there, but he's built up this trust and they've stopped counting his pills. But on the other hand, they also don't trust him because they're clearly over here questioning him, like, did you drink? And so it's this complicated feelings that he's having of like, oh, they trust me so much and I'm abusing that trust by not telling them, but also they don't trust me that much because they're over here questioning whether I actually did it. And I think complicated.
With the context of the show, I mean, not that the others know the magnitude of, Scott's behaviour towards Lo, but they're kind of like, well, he is under stress right now. He's having to deal with people he doesn't like. Like, he could relapse. And so I feel like if they weren't necessarily in the environment that they were at that time, I don't think the trust would have been questioned as much as it sadly was in this chapter.
Yeah. So Lo he's having his complicated feelings, and it comes out in unkind ways. So Rose is the one that's like really pressing him on this and kind of flinging all of these accusations at him, and he retaliates and kind of messes with her OCD. He goes to her sketches, her like fashion sketches, and starts throwing them on the ground. And when Rose goes down to clean them up, she's getting the charcoal smeared all over her hands. Like, it's a really bad moment for her. And Lo is trying to just kick her while she's down, to the point that Connor has to tell Lo to stop, and that's when you know that he's crossing a line. When Connor yells at Lo, it means too far.
Yeah, because Connor's one of those who I feel like he would just have to raise his voice slightly and he'll be like, so it's like if he shouts, like, it's like you've really done it.
Everybody shut up.
Because he is a very composed character, you know, outwardly, like all of the time. So you're suddenly seeing this mask, this facade break because he's just like, you've gone too far now. It's just such a sad. I'm saying this for like so many times. I'm like, this is just such a sad scene. I love this book series, but this is really sad.
It just pulls out all of the emotions from us. Like,
yeah.
I usually say that if a book gets me to cry, then it's going to get some pretty high stars. And all of these chapters get me so emotional. So, infinite stars. So, Lo feels guilty for antagonizing Rose the way he is. And that's just like adding more to these feelings that he's already having of this. They trusted me and they don't trust me at the same time. And then Reich is trying to comfort Lo, and Lo just doesn't understand why he's even receiving comfort in this moment, because he was clearly just being a dick and everyone witnessed it. He's like, you all look at me like I'm a dog that needs to be put out of his misery. I'm just waiting for one of you to finally do it. It's just, he's so full of self-loathing in this moment, and it's heartbreaking. And to add to it, Lily is over here questioning Lo, like, why aren't you showing them your pills? Why are you not proving them wrong?
A straightforward thing that will just shut this up.
Yeah, so then he has to admit that to everybody that he stopped taking them, and everyone is upset, but most especially Lily, because Lo is trying to defend it to Reich that he's so sick of having to be careful about everything that he eats, that it could potentially have some trace amount of alcohol in it that could cause him to puke, and he doesn't know how to live his life this way. And Lily is over here like, well, I'm an addict too, and I'm trying to live my life in this new normal with certain boundaries, and I'm not giving up the way you seem. So Lily announces that they are in a fight, and it's slightly concerning for Lo, because she's going to go sleep in Daisy's room and not have sex with him, which is a big moment for her, because Lo reveals that they haven't had sex in 3 days. They were abstaining for a little bit, and he was planning to sleep with her that night. But she's saying that his recovery is more important than her having sex, which is huge.
Yeah,
and we know that
being healthy and not drinking. Like,
yes.
She's just like, you are the concern, you're my concern right now. So again, it's like earlier on in the book, Lo was trying to be really strong for Lily, and Lily's going, now it's my turn, because it's equal give and take. They will both have their like really, really like rock bottom, or rock bottom was more earlier on in the series, but like they'll have their really low moments, and they do kind of just have to adapt and support one another through.
Yeah. So then, so she announces that she doesn't care about sex right now. Huge moment. But then we learn that, but wait, there's more. And then they watch the video that is on the camera from production, which is why they're wondering whether this is real or not, because it's a recording on the camera itself. So they're wondering how it could potentially be an edit. But it is it's from the chapter that we talked about at the very beginning of the podcast, when Lily and Lo were at the bookstore and she asked for the blowjob in the bathroom. And we know now, too, that they were telling the truth, that Lily asked for a blowjob and Lo said no. And they stayed in the bathroom for a little longer. But in the video, it sounds like she does wind up giving him a blowjob. And again, I just think it's so cute. She's raising her hand like, I had a bad day. Like, call on me. I have an answer for this right now. Lo insists that they did not have sex in the bathroom, that they don't have sex anywhere besides their bedroom, and Lily just has to, like, shut up because part of this is truth and part of this is lie, and she doesn't want to accidentally give anything away. And it basically ends with Lily insisting that she is doing better. She's not in a bad place, trying to reassure Rose. And the group winds up believing Lily and Lo, but then obviously this means that production is continuing to mess with them. So then later, Lo comes across Rose working one evening, and it's kind of awkward because they had this moment where he was like really mean to her, and like I said, kicking her while she was down caused her OCD to flare, and he hasn't really apologized for it. So he's like trying to find a way to apologize, because this is just so unnatural for him to do.
Casual, like, I'll just start a kind of casual conversation and then you know, I'm sorry, I messed up. But yeah, I mean, because Rose and Lo, like, their relationship has always been, you know, verging a bit volatile sometimes. So, but the whole thing of actually regrouping, apologizing, working through their problems, it's new territory for Lo. So it's just like he has to put his big boy pants on and he has to apologize. It's really hard.
It is. Yeah, so he's working up to it. I don't think he actually pulls out the words right away. But what he really wants to know first is, like, how can you stand to be around me? You hate me, but you put up with me for Lily. It must be hard, right? You're not Julian. Cool. That's the bar we've set. Let's be.
It's like the whole thing with, like, men, where it's like the bar is in hell at this point. It is so bad.
But Lo is a little more insistent. I made you cry. I forgive you. Because I know you'll never forgive yourself. Your guilt is punishment enough, don't you think? Just that she can recognize this in him, and just like, I like this moment because obviously this was a big moment for Lo. I think this is a big moment for Lo to hear this, because we don't actually get this scene in Kiss the Sky and it's not really mentioned, but this is so, like, to Rose, it's almost like it was just like a little blip on her radar. It wasn't this huge monumental thing for her of like, oh, Lo was mean to me in this moment, but also like he was having a bad day. Versus for Lo, this is a little more meaningful to hear that, like, Rose really accepts his relationship with Lily, and despite the fact that they butt heads, she knows how much he loves her sister, and she couldn't ask for anything more from him, and he needed to hear that. So I do like seeing this little moment with their relationship. Yeah. You and Lily, you two love each other. It's not that difficult to put my feelings aside when I can see how happy you make her. And Lo never does get the words "I'm sorry" out of his mouth, but Rose understands all the same.
They have their own little, we understand.
So then in the next chapter, we see Lily and Lo have decided to stick it to production, because obviously we've just come off this realization that they're really fucking with their addictions and trying to turn their family against them, and like making sure that it's not just things that Lily and Lo have to hide from the rest of the group. It's like they're actively pulling in Rose and Connor and Reich. So in order to stick it to production, they have decided that they're sequestering themselves to the bedroom. They're not leaving for any other part of the townhouse, because obviously they'll be filmed, and they won't leave until Scott apologizes. And it's very funny to see Lily and Lo just trying to live in this bedroom and sustain themselves. They have to get Daisy to bring them food. Rose and Reich are absolutely like, no, we're not fucking feeding into this. This is bad for your addictions, for you to be completely by yourselves. No. Lily is under the impression that Connor might help them, and sends him an SOS.
You laugh.
The refrigerator is stocked. If you've lost mobility in your legs, Lauren can carry you downstairs. And you know how I feel about hyperboles. He's on Team Rowry. Mission aborted.
No!
Plans are foiled. So yeah, so they basically have to fully depend on Daisy for this. And we also see that Lily is kind of scrolling through the internet now that she has some privileges back and really wants to see cute gifs of that fans have made on Tumblr from the show. They're making fan edits of them, and she's like, this is so cute. I really want to see this stuff. And Lo is worried that she might accidentally stumble across porn, because that was a place that she was finding images that she shouldn't be looking at.
Yeah.
It's so cute that they're like, we'll sit down together and look at it, and Lo will cover Lily's eyes if there are any penises, and if there are any boobs, Lily will cover Lo's eyes.
And also just like the whole thing with Lily's like fangirlness. That's probably why I also connect with her so much, because I'm just kind of like, Lily just loves love, and she just wants to be able to see it through these pretty little gifts and stuff like that.
I know. So then Daisy arrives with food for them, and like immediately after, Reich busts in, and Daisy tries to hide so she doesn't get in trouble for helping Lily and Lo. And Lily tries to get Reich out. She's got a nerd gun ready, and shoots him as soon as he steps into the room.
Perfectly valid. I love that form of defense.
And Reich immediately finds Daisy and pulls her out from under the bed. And he tells Lily and Lo that they need to get out of their room, and they stand firm on they are not leaving until Scott gives them an apology. And Daisy tells Reich that she was trying to help Lily and Lo because she was hoping that she could distract them. She was really afraid about them also falling into their addictions because they were stuck in a room together. And Lo is over here like, Daisy, don't think about my sex life like that, please.
It might be close, but we're drawing a line here.
Yes. So Reich says that he's going to get Scott to give an apology to Lily and Lo. And they also thank Daisy for being so loyal. When she smiles, it's bright and beautiful. And I wonder how I spent so many years avoiding a relationship with her. Daisy is one of the most soulful people to be around, and maybe if I opened up a little sooner, I'd have felt this joy from the start. And I love seeing like this repairing of Lily and Daisy's relationship, that she feels like she has a true connection with her sister. And yeah, I mean, we saw it being mended earlier during New Year's when she was remembering facts about Daisy, but now it's more than that. It's just like, I love being around her. She's so bright, and I love who she is to her core, and I love being around her, and I want to spend more time with her. Like in Addicted to You, when Daisy came for a visit, it was just like this awkward thing, and they put her off in one of the rooms and didn't spend any time with her at all. And now it's like, yeah, I want to hang out with my sister more. I love her. It's so sweet.
I think this scene, along with the bowling scene, Daisy really doesn't like her sisters being uncomfortable. She doesn't like people being uncomfortable, full stops. Obviously, the argument brewing, her solution is, I'm going to get. And with the thing with Lily and barricading themselves, again, it's like she doesn't want them to be uncomfortable, upset, so she's there as like a, I've got your back. Yeah, she always likes to try kind of calm the waters a little bit.
Okay, so then Lily is currently out at the store with Lo and Reich. Okay, so they are out shopping for condoms right now, and Lily wonders why Lo is even trying to get condoms, because what's the point? And she's like, it feels different. It doesn't feel as good for the guy and for the girl. Come on now. Lily is not the poster child for safe sex and condoms. Cool.
Well, like she was before, but she's like, look, I just got my one man now. Like, all
Yeah.
is well. All is swell. Like, I get it, but also, babe, no.
Yeah, I know.
My anxious brain.
No, can't risk it. But Lo tells her, like, it's just for a little while. We need to do this. And when they get up to the cash register, Lily notices that there is a Celebrity Crush magazine that has a headline calling her a nymphomaniac and accusing her of sleeping with Lo and Reich. Which is terrible because she's currently at a cash register with Lo and Reich while they both buy condoms. And she's like, oh my God. I thought the polls were supposed to have fixed this. Lo was doing... Did we skip that part? I might have skipped that part.
There was the poll thing, because then it was like, you know, they're being really nice about Lo and her together.
Okay, yeah. So it was in that part.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like, crap, we thought that the public seemed to be in support of her and Lo, and we're forgetting about Reich, but clearly not. Celebrity Crushes over here just constantly fanning the flames of this stupid fucking rumor. So Lily panics. She grabs all of the magazines and to buy them so that nobody else can. The cashier is just sort of like, okay, this woman's kind of crazy, and Lo is like, she's really protective of me. So so Lily is furious because, one, because of this rumor, but two, they called her a nymphomaniac, and it's harder for her to argue that sex addiction is real when she's being accused of being a nymphomaniac. So she's really fired up. They go home. And she bursts into the house. She's like, I'm not being dramatic about this at all. But then proceeds to run to the kitchen and try and light these magazines on fire super dramatically.
Again, I would do the same thing though. So like, I can't, but I can again. It's just, I don't know. Like,
I think I would feel this. No, I think I would feel the same way. But I don't know if I would have the guts to like actually go ahead and do it. I'd probably just like let it fester in my head. So I applaud her for actually just fucking doing what she wants and burning.
And light them on fire. I will never forget one of my teachers doing that to somebody's test in school. Like, they didn't do well in it, and she was just like, it's gone. And I just remember being like, oh my God. So I'm just like, yeah, light it on fire.
Yep, go for it. Doesn't need to exist.
We don't like the house anyway, so...
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, they don't. So Connor, like, all of a sudden, Rose and Connor are there, like, getting into the situation, and then they suddenly note it. They turn around, and they see Julian yelling at Daisy, because Rose and Connor had been trying to break up Daisy and Julian, which, God, thank God. Get Julian gone, please. But Julian is yelling at Daisy and calling her horrible names. See you next Tuesday. And that just sets off the hot-tempered triad. And Reich is obviously the one that is going to go physically fight Julian. And Lo is incensed too, and Lily jumps on his back to get him to stop from getting involved in the fight. And then Julian finally
Brett sprints through with like a camera on his shoulder, just like, it's okay, guys, I got this. Like, I'll get this on film. And I'm like, read the room, Brett. I know this is your job, but read the room.
Unfortunately, he is, and that is exactly the kind of drama that they fucking want from the reality show.
Like, this will be part of like the advertisements before. Like, it's just like, you're not going to want to miss this, gang. It's just like,
yeah. So Julian finally leaves. And then we get to, I love this chapter so much. So then Connor wakes up Lily and Lo in the middle of the night one night, and he says he has a question that he needs to ask Lily and Lo, which is basically he wants to know their feelings on their wedding that's happening in a month. And as we've seen throughout this book, I think there is literally one mention of the wedding up until this point. And it was, in this book in particular, there was just that moment where Rose texts asking Lily about wedding details, and they didn't want to think about it. And I think that's the only time we've really seen the wedding being mentioned. So at this point we know they don't really have strong feelings about, they don't have strong happy feelings about this wedding happening right now.
They have pretty moderate feelings against it, but
Yeah.
not even like the idea of the marriage. It's not the actual idea of the marriage, it's the circumstances.
It's the wedding. It's the wedding itself. It's not the marriage.
Not the union, not the love that's behind it. It's the actual event.
Correct.
Which honestly is sad.
So then Connor tells Lily and Lo that he has talked with the Callaways and with Jonathan, and everyone agrees.
Girly pop. My turn.
You're gonna be on the podcast. Baby girl. You've never done this.
I love how she did it on mine, though. I feel honored.
She's literally never done this during a podcast. Hi, you know you got in trouble today. And Mommy's mad at you. Okay, can I talk now? I like this chapter.
She can feel the good vibes, and she's like, I want to be part of it.
Yeah, truly. Okay, so, thank you. So, Connor, he's talked with the Callaways, and he's talked with Jonathan, and everyone's in agreement that the reality show has painted Lily and Lo in a really good light. Like, no one can argue that Lily and Lo don't love each other. It's so evident that they are in love with each other, and that was the whole point of the wedding, was like trying to add credibility to Lily and Lo actually being together. So Connor tells them that they don't need to get married on this set wedding day, but then he tells them that he would really love it if he could marry Rose instead on this day.
Like, it's benefiting all, like, it's benefiting, but wowzers.
Hi, honey. Yeah.
Everyone's happy. Phoebe can feel the happiness just exuding.
Yes. And it's, I want to marry Rose on that day, if you'll let me. It's like someone finally gave us a break and then went one step further, clearing a dark storm into a bright blue sky. Which, yes, I love that Connor is handing them back some control. They had felt so out of control with being told when they needed to get married, being told when they needed to open superheroes and scones, but this, they actually are finally getting a say on when they can get married. And then I'm about to ask if he loves Rose, but the expression that washes over his face, it says it all. Connor is smiling, his gaze far off, as he's picturing that future already, glowing with something innately human. Hopefully one day he'll accept how much love has actually overcome him.
I just had chills. I'm just like, oh my god.
Don't worry, Lo. That someday is, or that one day is coming soon.
I think the whole emphasis of falling into a peaceful, quiet sleep, like that final line, like it's just like they've not had peace, they've not had quiet, they've like anxiety levels have been like at least here the whole time.
Yes.
And Connor doing that, and because the fact that Connor was the one that did the talking with the Callaways and with Jonathan, like he got things sorted, he kind of smoothed things out.
Yeah,
and
he did the hard stuff.
Did the hard work, and so then they can kind of, a weight is off their shoulders. They can breathe. They could like. There's still some things that are kind of, Scott's like they finally get some notion of peace and quiet and control again, and it's a huge moment like in the series as a whole, because they've been controlled by their addictions, and then they were controlled by outside parties trying to sort, like it was out of love mostly, but they've not had true control for a very, very long time, if ever, honestly.
Yeah, and it's huge for Lily and Lo. We didn't know how this came about in Kiss the Sky. We just know that last chapter, Connor surprises her with a wedding. So I love being able to get a little more context to how it came about. It's a sweet chapter in so many different aspects. Then we go to the next chapter. Lily has passed her online classes at Princeton for the semester.
Which is another way off.
Yeah. It's really big for her because obviously we saw her at the beginning of the series struggling with getting through some of her courses, but you know what? She's pushing through. She's She's not like top of the class, but she's holding her own at the very least. So currently she and Lo are having a Lord of the Rings marathon with Rike and Daisy after hearing that they had not seen the movies, which these little pop culture cutie dorks, I love them. So they're all just kind of thinking about the fact that the end of filming is very quickly approaching. It's almost the end of the 6 months of filming. How things are going to kind of return back to normal in the sense that, like, hopefully they'll be moving out of this townhouse and back to their own homes. But they do know Lily notices that Daisy isn't as excited about the idea as the rest of them because it means that Daisy has to return to living with Samantha and being back under her thumb a lot more. But then Lily starts scrolling through Twitter and she comes across a hashtag, Kobalaway porn tape. And now suddenly we know what's happening. So she turns on the news. She switches the TV to the news channel, and it basically tells us what we already know, which is that Rose and Connor were filmed having sex, and this tape was sold for $25 million by Scott. And this is basically a repeat of the scene in Kiss the Sky, which is basically that that Rose thought she read the contracts and misunderstood the confusing line that anything that was filmed in the bedrooms could not be aired on network television, but it did not mean that they weren't going to try and film them in the bedrooms and then have that be sold or be published online.
Ultimately, it was a loophole that ends up being pretty detrimental.
And it's very scary at first while they're waiting for Scott to kind of clarify this, because Scott shows up at some point and does his whole villain monologuing. It's very scary for Lily and Lo because, as mentioned several times, Lily has been so very paranoid. Like, she's already in the public eye for being a sex addict, and it would just be catastrophic for there to be a sex tape of her out there somewhere. And it's so scary for her to imagine that she could have been filmed. But she wasn't. She had been in her room so much that the cameramen were never able to sneak anything into the bedrooms to record them. So they are safe. And then Lily and Lo just feel this overwhelming sense of relief that for once a media scandal is not about them, that they're not the ones caught in the crossfire.
They do have some guilt about that, obviously, because they don't want the people that they love the most to be going through something like that. But there does have to be this, it wasn't us though, because that,
which is a completely human reaction to have.
It's completely valid as well. I mean, realistically, if a tape like that had come out with Lily and Lo, I don't even want to begin to imagine how many steps backward that would take them.
Yeah, that'd be truly catastrophic. It would be horrible. So yeah, I'd have the exact same reaction if I were in their shoes, and I don't blame them, and we know that Rose and Connor would not blame them for this either. Also to note, at one point Connor is on the phone with Greg, and when he hangs up, Lo notices that Greg doesn't have anything to say, like, Connor, I'm going to need to have a talk with you because there is currently a video of you having sex with my daughter and we should have a conversation. There's nothing like that. And Lo is wondering, okay, Greg, you wanted to have this whole talk about my sobriety after Lily's addiction went public and all of this stuff, but sure, okay. Double standards here. Got it.
It is some pieces already coming together in a minute way, but coming together. Okay, well, this is still like an awful thing that's happening to Rose and Connor, but the overall response to it looks like it's going to differ from, what occurred with Lily and Lo. So it's like they're going to get some backlash, but I don't.
Right.
Lo can already recognize that it's not going to be exactly the same.
Right. So then Connor tells Scott to leave. And he does, which you wish it's the last of him. It's the last of him. No spoilers.
No.
So yeah, Connor tells Scott to leave, and Lily and Lo hope that now that he's gone, this is the last cancer that is removed from their lives. That they can go back to normal and hopefully, or whatever this new normal is now that they are in the public spotlight, but that they aren't going to be under this kind of microscope that they have been under and dealing with this shitty fuck. So, despite this shitstorm that Rose and Connor are going through, they are still intending to go through with the wedding as well. So, they're currently in France for their wedding, and Lily is just so happy for her sister. Reich notes how very extravagant this wedding looks. It's very Rose and Connor. But he asks if Lily and Lo are going to have something similar, and then asks if they've decided when they're going to get married. And they said they want to wait until the media dies down. But there's kind of this sense of like, well, what if the media never dies down? Like, we don't know what... We keep saying they're going back to normal, but like truly what is this normal? Because they had Lily's sex addiction and the media didn't totally die down after that. And then they got even more of a national spotlight by being on this reality show. And now there's like another scandal that's just flaming, or what's the word I'm looking for? That's like fueling the flames. That's where I was going.
Fueling the fire.
Yeah. Fanning the flames, fueling the fire, and it's just, will the media attention ever actually die down? We don't know at this point. So in that case, when are they going to get married? But then Rose and Connor step out onto the dance floor for their first dance. And Lily points out that she predicted that this would happen the moment that she saw them together, and Lo and Reich clap for her. Good job, points for you, Cupid. And then Rose and Connor dance to La Vie en Rose. And Lily doesn't recognize the song at first, so she asks what it is. And then Reich tells her the name, and she knows that he says it with a French lilt. Interesting, right? And then she gets distracted. And then as they're watching Rose and Connor dance, Lily turns to Lo and tells him that even though she knows that Rose and Connor are very strong, they're going to need Lily and Lo's help for handling this scandal and everything that's going on because of the sex tape. Lily and Lo have been through this, and unfortunately are old hats, so to speak, at this. And Lily is ready to hold her sister's hand and walk her through this.
Again, I think it's really important because obviously, like, Rose and Connor have been there for Lily and Lo, like, essentially, like, since the beginning of their recovery thing. But it's like, not that life necessarily always has to be I do this for you, you do this for me, but it's that whole thing of Lily and Lo recognizing, like, you know, we are stronger now, that we are able to be in the position where, with at least some form of confidence, we can be that support system for another person.
And like, let me. I really want to. It's not just like it. I don't think it feels tit for tat as much as just like, you were there for me, but I love you and I really want to be there for you.
I
and
want the best for you.
I want to do
enough to be there for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because, it's definitely not a relationship where it's like, well, I did this with you, so you'll do this for me. It's they all want what's best for the other. And Lily and Lo are now able to be in that position where they have at least some strength that they feel like that they can provide at least some comfort.
So, so she tells Lo this, and we see Lo isn't so sure. She's pressed up against Lo's body. She's just like in contact with Lo, and all of a sudden she's starting to feel kind of aroused. And as she starts to feel this arousal, it causes stress, because then it's like, I shouldn't be having sex at my sister's wedding. So then that just kind of causes her to stress more. Like, She gets very in her head with when should I be having thoughts about sex versus when is it appropriate for me to be having thoughts about sex versus when is it not. So she's kind of having one of those moments, and Lo is like, you know what, let's go find somewhere.
Someone needs to tell Lily that actually at weddings it sounds like it's a pretty normal thing for people in the wedding parties to.
Yeah,
I've seen 27 dresses. I know what's up.
absolutely. So yeah, Lo starts leading her away, but then there's this crowd of guests that separates them. And while Lily and Lo are separated at this moment, Lily bumps into this lady named Wendy Collins. And at first, Lily does not know who she is. This woman is talking to Lily like she knows who she is, and she thinks at first that it's one of Rose's friends. So it's this awkward moment of Wendy having to oh no, I'm actually that reporter that wrote everything about you. I'm that reporter from Celebrity Crush. And Lily is absolutely like, I don't want anything to do with you. You posted that email that I sent you and all of this mean stuff. Constantly accusing me of sleeping with my boyfriend's brother. Don't appreciate. And Wendy's super mean about it too. She's like, well, we have bills to pay and some of us don't come from money. Like, fuck you, Wendy. There are so many other ways that you could be making money. I don't think that's a great defense.
No, it's the worst defense, if I'm completely honest. It's just like, can you not have, allow people to have their dignity intact? No. I swear I could write an essay on that woman. I could write an essay on it.
I've got so much to say on... Yeah. So then Wendy also introduces her to another woman, Andrea Delacourt, who is an editor for Celebrity Crush, and they basically ask Lily in what I imagine is like a super snide way. I can't imagine them being sincere at all with how they're talking about this in front of Lily. It's just so...
At Rose's wedding. Once again, read the room, ladies. Read the room.
But essentially what happens is they ask Lily, would Rose be interested in maybe writing a column for Celebrity Crush for sex advice or anything? Yeah, she's a female figure that we believe a lot of women can rally behind. It's empowering to have someone like Rose out there. She's independent, driven, and sexually open. I wouldn't be surprised if women start asking her for relationship advice. Okay.
How we both sigh at the same time. It's like, number one, Wendy, why don't you do what you do best? Do a little poll. What do you think? Ask the public. Do we think that Rose would do this column that would... that makes me want to rip my hair out, and I don't want to do that.
Nope.
It's just...
hair on your head, please.
It's icky. It is gross. The double standards is just...
It's horrible.
There is a reason why I didn't have notes for this, because I can't get my thoughts in a line. There is just so many emotions, so many thoughts that I just can't, apart from, ooh, you bitch, fuck off.
Yep. That's basically what she is. They're both horrible bitches, telling Lily this, full well knowing what the public perception of Lily is, and asking her at her sister's wedding. Just fuck right off.
Lily is treated like a leper. I think that's what it is. She's... And would they have reacted the same way if Rose and Connor had seemingly vanilla sex? No. It's because they just like the idea that, oh my god, there's another Calloway sister who gets a little bit wild sexually in a consensual manner. But it's the whole thing of just treating these young women as a spectacle and something to, one to ridicule, one to idolize, just because one of them they feel is more tainted.
It's awful. And Lily comes to the realization that she and Rose are going to be treated completely differently, because Rose was with only Connor she was a virgin before she ever had sex with Connor, and Lily had sex with many men, and it's just this awful double standard that the world has. And
even the whole thing, almost as if like Rose was able to kind of be controlled for so long, like, you know, she is a role model because she was able to control herself, control any urges that she could have had for X amount of time. But like Lily, on the other hand, oh my god, she slept with all these people. What does it matter to you?
it doesn't.
Like, Lily's not handing out like diseases left, right, and centre like it's Halloween and trick-or-treaters are coming by.
It's just it's so awful because
so
at this point she is monogamous. Like, we're talking about a woman that was having lots and lots of sex at one point, but did finally come to the realization that she had a problem, and has stayed faithful with one man for years at this point.
Yeah.
A year and a half at this point, and is in recovery and staying healthy. And instead of celebrating that, we're just going to cut her down for her past.
For her past. Like, it's just like she is an evolved being because people...
But we're not going to celebrate her evolution. We're just going to focus on where she came from. And we're not going to celebrate that. We're going to vilify her for that.
And I think it's another thing because, you know, obviously with the show and trying to pin the rest of the core six against Lily and Lo, but it's like now you're just honing in on two sisters who obviously, like, I feel like it probably would have been kind of obvious that those out of the sisters they were closest, and you're trying to take this thing to pull them apart. It's like, we finally have something to kind of try to destroy this strong bond that they finally have after such a long time.
So when Lily comes to this realization, she is obviously, this is a low moment for her. And when she meets up with Lo, they can't have sex because this would only be sex to be medicating her anxiety and sadness. So it's not a good moment for her to have sex. She also tells Lo that he was right with his hesitation, that Rose and Connor are not going to have the same kind of struggle with being in the media. It reminds me of a scene later on that they're continuing to be the quote-unquote weak ones while Rose and Connor can kind of be the strong ones. And Lo tells her the world is never going to understand us, but it doesn't matter, Lil. We have each other, and I get your pain. I understand how badly it hurts, so I need you to block out the other people today, okay? They don't exist in our world. And I just love that he can find these words to try and help her and reassure her, but also, like, block out these people today. We're going to take this a day at a time, and you don't need to focus on the future at this moment. Let's just start with the small step of today. They don't exist in our world. We're going to find happiness in this moment so that you aren't going to have a bad day. You're going to have a good day today. And then, do we have superpowers in our world? Yeah, but you're not invisible. What can I do then? Fly with me. Then he lifts her in a piggyback and asks her if she wants to get lost in a palace with him. Yes, it's a good kind of yes. The best kind. One filled with 1,000 I love yous. The type of love that can make you fly.
In the Peter Pan things there.
Always.
But like that's such a emotional roller coaster of a chapter because you go from this like pure elation to sadness and anger, and then hope. I guess
it's hope. Yeah,
it's
all over the place with this book. It's a roller coaster.
This was definitely a chapter that I needed to take like a 15-minute break afterward. I was just like, I'm having a moment.
Yes. I don't know which way to feel right now.
Angry with that Wendy bitch.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad that Lily and Lo are having this moment flying in the palace, but I'm still pissed at Wendy. Come on.
I'm still at the restaurant. To quote Taylor Swift over here. Just like, no.
Okay, so Lily and Lo are having sex back at the Princeton house, and once they finish, Lily is so exhausted that she falls asleep and Lo lets her. But then Connor knocks on their door to check on them because he says they've been having sex for 4 hours at this point, that's a long time for them, especially when Lily is meant to be, not having that much sex. So Connor asks if he can talk with Lo in the kitchen, and Lo notices Rose. She's in the nearby office and basically notes that Rose and Lily haven't really been on speaking terms since the wedding because of this unfairness with how the media has treated Rose versus how they've treated Lily. And Connor says that Rose and Lily just need to talk about this because they're so very clearly on the same page. Rose thinks it's unfair too. But their battle, like Lily feels bad for feeling unhappy towards how Rose is being treated. And it's just like,
Yeah.
but Rose understands that Lily's going to feel bad about it. It's just...
It's not like that Lily is upset with Rose. She is upset with how the media are going to end up treating Rose differently to her.
Yeah.
So it's just like why couldn't that have been me? Sort of. Like that, I guess, like envy with it. But yeah, it's just like she's not upset with Rose, but seeing Rose, I guess, would just kind of remind her that
it's just all tied together. And
it's difficult. It's a lot to process. Like the whole thing is a lot to process. So, and Lily does kind of need to have her shut off time to kind of regroup, gather her thoughts, just have her moment.
It's just that the sisters need to have a conversation at some point. And then Connor tells Lo that his mom is probably going to die within the week and that he'll become the CEO of Cobalt Inc. And then Lo asks Connor about the lawsuit with Scott, and Connor alludes to it being really complicated with these contracts that they've come up with. And Lo notes that they are different individuals, but Lo still feels grateful to have Connor as his friend and roommate. So into the next chapter, Lily is trying to decide if she wants to go across the street to see Rose at her new boutique. She asks Garth, her bodyguard, should I go?
My notes say the return of Garth in brackets. Yay!
We love Garth.
Well, because there was the mention earlier on the book, the fact that Lily and Daisy no longer, like when they were filming, they weren't allowed to have their bodyguard. So it's like not only did Scott and his team, they were wanting to ridicule and all the bad things which we've already talked about, but also the complete disregard of the safety.
Right.
Like, so it's just like, so you don't have your privacy, you don't have any security. They're just puppet playthings for them. They're just the complete disregard as them as humans as a whole.
Yeah.
But anyway, Garth is back. Yay.
Yes, Garth is back. Lily is asking whether they should walk, but Rose's boutique is literally across the street. But she does go over, and she and Rose have their talk, which basically reaffirms everything that we've said up until this point, that Rose agrees it's unfair, it's totally human and valid for Lily to be having these feelings of being upset with the situation, even if it is her sister. It doesn't matter. And I love seeing the sisterly support. I think there's a moment where Rose mentions she was writing to certain publications about it and Connor was telling her to stop. If our roles were reversed, I'd be so fucking furious that I'd have stormed 20 news outlets by now and wrung their necks. I'm not going to lie to you. I called seven of them to bitch, and the only reason I stopped was because Connor told me I was making the headlines worse. I love her. I love the sisterly devotion. And loyalty and support. It's what we want to see. So now it's a few months later. It's December. Lily and Lo are on the way to Maria, who is Poppy and Sam's daughter. We haven't seen much of her lately, but she's still around. They're on the way to a ballet recital for Maria, and they're trying to have sex in the limo, and they keep getting tossed around as the chauffeur drives them to the venue. And it's just, they're so happy in this moment. They're laughing and just having sweet banter, and Lily says she doesn't feel compulsive when she has sex with Lo in a car, and she's really starting to feel normal at this moment. And they actually even arrive early to this ballet. It feels like another moment of repeating from the past where they had this family obligation that they would have skipped for sex. And look at them. They're early. They got to do what they wanted, and they're early. They're so on top of things now. So Lily and Lo reflect on how far they've come with their addictions, and they feel like they're doing really well. So then Lo tells Lily that he wants to marry her for real soon, in the next year. And they decide on June 16th because of 616. And in this moment, they're so happy. And that is the end of part 2. Leaves us on a very happy note. Can't wait to jump into part 3, guys. Hold on to those happy moments, because remember them as they flit away.
I love just like the halfway of like, you're here and we're going to go back down.
Right back down. So far back down. Whew, I'm ready. So part 3, it is Daisy's 18th birthday, and they are celebrating at Jonathan's house. They're like having a pool party. Lo warns Reich that even though Daisy is now 18, he still doesn't want to see Reich with Daisy. He wants Daisy as far away from the Hale family as possible. And Lo tells Reich a story about how one time Jonathan caught Lo in the pool swimming and asked if he wanted to swim competitively. And when he said no, Jonathan locked the pool up to him because that was not a privilege that he had earned. Whew. Okay, Jonathan. And Lo just tries to get a sense of what Reich's relationship with their dad is like, because Reich is very close off. They don't really talk about Jonathan.
They put around the conversation regularly, which I get it, but...
Right. I mean, in fairness, Jonathan is a trigger for Lo to drink, so it's like, why would we bring him up? But he's also a big part of Lo and Reich's past. And something to think about. So then Lily joins Lo and Reich, and she wants to have a talk with Reich, and I'm sorry, I fucking love this whole conversation. So this is Lily to Reich. We need to talk about your sex addiction.
It's really during this.
It's really, really out of control. We just had to let go of Michelle. That's the 3rd store manager you've slept with. And I really liked Michelle. And I completely understand. You can't control yourself. But if you wanted to get away with hiding your addiction, you shouldn't have slept with people we know. That's sex addiction 101. That doesn't make me a fucking sex addict. It's okay. I know it's hard to admit, especially since you've been with so many women, but we're here for you now. You can get this under control. I put my hand on his arm in comfort. Is she for real right now? You don't have to be afraid anymore. Lily, I'm not a fucking sex addict. I know you wish I was, so I could join in your little sex addicts not anonymous club, but it's not happening. And Lily is so dejected, and she's like, can you at least admit that you screw more than the average male? No. Lo screws more than the average. So Reich points out that yes, Lo has a ton of sex. Does that make Lo a sex addict? And Lily's like, okay, fine, no, Reich's not a sex addict, but can you please stop sleeping with our store managers? I also love this moment where Reich's like, why can't you just hire male store managers, and then I won't have sex with them? And Lily's like, we just went through this. Sex addict. Not a sex addict. Yes, it's so cute. He puts his hand on her head. Sex addict. Not a sex addict. I don't know. I just find it so adorable.
Right, please stop jeopardizing the business, okay?
Yes,
Dick,
truly.
Back in trousers, walk away. But it's his kind of funny coping mechanism, just trying to deal with life in general. But it's like, right, can you please stop fucking up Lily's business with
Yes.
stop thinking with this head and not the other head. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, exactly. So then Daisy comes over to their group and they're talking, but then Samantha comes over and steals her plate and insists that she's only allowed to have vegetables because she needs to lose weight for work, which is just truly, truly tragic that the birthday girl has to eat fucking vegetables. That's all she can have when we know how much Daisy Calloway.
Yolanda Hadid. That's what it is to me. Like I'm just, oh, Poland.
You can have this much cake. Yep, yep.
Very slowly.
And we also learn that Daisy is planning to move into Reich's apartment building when she graduates from school. And then Jonathan calls for Lo to come over and talk with him. So Lo goes over, and Jonathan is very clearly acting drunk. He's wasted, which is saying something because we already know that Jonathan is a functioning alcoholic. So to get him to this point, it's just how fucking much has he had? Because his tolerance is pretty high. So he asks Lo how tough he is and basically gives a cryptic warning that they're going to be hearing some bad things in the news soon. But he refuses to tell Lo what it is. And Lo just keeps trying to press him. Like, tell me. Like, why can't you just be honest with me and tell me what's going on? He's worried that it's about Lily, too. Because fair, yeah. But he has zero context for what Jonathan is going on about at this moment. And Jonathan just berates Lo and gets so worked up enough that he smacks Lo on the face, hits him. And that gets Reich and Lily's attention. Reich pulls them away, yells at their dad, and they're trying to protect Lo from Jonathan, but in this moment, Lo can also kind of understand where Jonathan is coming from and that he's hurting. And he's like also slightly defending Jonathan from Reich.
Very, very complicated relationship.
It's a very complicated relationship between the two of them. But Lily and Lo go sit by themselves, and Lo is just having a bad day. This is a bad day for him now, and he's really stressed. It's worse. He's not on antabuse. He stopped taking it and did tell everyone, but he doesn't have this as kind of a lifeline for him at this moment. And it's just so worrisome because today has turned into a really tough one, but clearly something big is about to come, and it could be even worse. So it's a month later. It's really late in the night. Lily and Lo are reading a comic together, and Lo's phone won't stop ringing. So he picks it up, and he finds out that it's someone from GBA News on the other end of the line, and Lo goes downstairs to take this call in privacy. And this guy tells Lo that Jonathan has been accused of molesting him, and Lo denies this, hangs up, and immediately calls his dad. And Jonathan reveals that this family friend turned on them and wants to destroy Jonathan's reputation. And it looks really fucking bad for the CEO of a baby product company to be accused of molesting his son. And he tells Lo that no one's going to believe Lo if he denies the accusations because he's an alcoholic. And Jonathan could have manipulated him. So their credibility is out. The only two people that can actually have any sway with the media is Sarah Hale and Reich. And we all know that both of them hate Jonathan, and there's no way that they would ever do anything to help him. So Will comes to the realization of how hopeless the situation is, and he reaches into the cabinets and he finds a mostly full bottle of Glenfiddich, and he drinks it. I hate these chapters so much. So Lily has fallen asleep for a couple of hours. She's waiting for Lo to come back. It's just hurts my heart. She wakes up and she's like, I held your page. I remembered what page of the comics you were on. I read ahead, but don't worry, I remember what number. And Lo's not even there. She thinks he's there, and she's like trying to tell him that she held his page for him, but she realizes Lo has not come back to the bedroom yet. So she goes to look for him, and when she comes to the kitchen, she finds him unconscious next to this basically empty bottle of alcohol. And he's got a really, really slow pulse. And it is, I can't imagine what she was going through. But you know what? She jumps into action. She's screaming his name. You wait for me, okay?
That's the part that gets, it's the you wait for me. Because obviously, end of addiction to you, it's like Lo saying it to Lily, and then Lily's like, no.
It's her turn to ask him for that. She held up her end of the bargain. He has to hold up his end. So yeah, she immediately jumps into action. She's trying to pick up his body and bring him to the car. And Rose can hear Lily was shouting his name. And Rose heard that, so she comes downstairs and understands what happened. She calls for Connor. Connor comes down and carries Lo to the car. But he has to ask Rose to drive because he is not capable of doing that. And he also admits that that bottle of Glenfiddich was his. It's just, there's so many people in this moment that are so devastated by this. And I hate witnessing all of these little moments. Like, I love the group scenes and getting to see everyone's reactions. This is a group scene that I wish I would never have to witness. You wait for me, Lauryn Hill. Okay. So Lo is at the hospital now. Lily is sitting by, he's being treated. Lily's sitting at his bedside, and just outside of the curtains of his space, she can hear Connor and Reich fighting. Reich is absolutely furious that Connor had alcohol in the house at all, because he's living with an alcoholic. And Connor says that he trusted Lo and would not have risked having that alcohol in the house at all if he had known that these rumors about Jonathan and Lo were a thing. And then Reich says, you know what I fucking think? I think you get off being the superhero to my brother. I think you like the way he looks at you, like you're invulnerable, while he stands beneath you, weak, looking for guidance, and you take advantage of all of that. Stop. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that you're not destroying him. I love him. Which, when we go back to that one chapter where Lo was like, I hope one day Connor realizes how much love he has in his life. It's not just Rose. Yeah. He loves Lo too. But then Rose comes back in with coffee and chastises the guys for having this conversation at all in front of Lily while she is over Lo's body right now. Lo's unconscious body. Not the time. Read the room.
Read the room. There's a lot of instances in the series where it's just like, read the room, people. Read the room.
Take a moment. Let's just regroup.
I understand why you feel like you need to have this conversation, but time and place. And this ain't the time and place.
It is not. Rose checks in on Lily and asks her how she's feeling, if this awful situation is making her anxious and feeling compulsive. But Lily is, her sole focus is Lo, and it's not a problem for her at all. Lo has been there for me for so many months. I want to be strong for him. This is like that true moment of he was my pillar when I was struggling, and now it's my turn to be that pillar.
Like that. Just like,
yes.
Like, growth has happened. I don't like the situation we're in right now, but I do appreciate the growth still, and just like,
I know,
the acknowledgement of that growth as well.
Yes, 100%. It needs to be acknowledged too. Lily deserves to hear that kind of acknowledgement. They also ask Lily about the allegations regarding Lo and Jonathan, and Lily denies them, but she does note that Rose and Reich do seem kind of skeptical about it. And then Lo finally wakes up, and everyone leaves except for Lily. And she tells him, I just want you to know that if you leave this world, I won't be in it much longer, which is just so heartbreaking. At the same time, it's like, I cannot imagine any world where one of them does not exist without the other. It does not compute. It's awful to think about how to get them together if that were to happen, but
I also, They're not sold separately.
But Lo does assert that that wasn't what his intention was. He was not trying to kill himself. And he's surprised that this one bottle did so much damage to him. He thought he would just drink it and pass out. And Lily points out that he's been sober for years at this point, and his tolerance is not what it should be. And they're just being together in this moment, and Lo, it's like he just woke up from breaking his sobriety, but one of the first things he's thinking of is, Lily, maybe you shouldn't be near me right now because I don't want to cause you to have any compulsions and for you to backtrack the way he's backtracked at this point. But she's like, no, you can't enable me. Why is that? Because I can withstand your charm, Lauren Hale. Which I love hearing that from Lily, but then I think it hurts Lo because what he says next is, I don't want to be the weak one, which is fair. It's hard to be that pillar for someone and feel like you are strong enough to support them, and then to have that role reversal where you're now the weak one.
The whole notion of like weakness has stemmed from basically like his relationship with Jonathan. Since, I mean, there's a number of times where like there's the whole thing like Lo's getting like upset about something, and then it's like the little kind of snapshot things of like, oh, you're weak. The conversation that he had with Jonathan, the fact that he feels weak compared to Reich, like he does feel like the weak one more often than not, and he, again with the whole self-loathing thing, like he hates that, and you know that he would have felt so proud to be that pillar of strength for Lily for this extended period of time. So it would feel like a failure on his part that Lily does have to step in.
Yeah.
The effects of emotional abuse over an extensive period of time.
Yeah.
And it would take a lot to get him out of that mindset.
Yeah. So Lily assures him that he won't be the weak one for long. So then the next chapter is July. The past couple of chapters were March. And so now we jump into July, and obviously that means that the June 16th wedding date that Lily and Lo had set has come and gone, and they did not get married on that day. And Lo has admitted that it's a lot easier for him to have had alcohol again since he broke his sobriety. So it's been really hard for him to maintain his sobriety in the past couple of months. He's just not been in the right headspace. He's feeling very, very off. And the only thing that has been keeping him going right now is Lily. So then it's a couple months later. It's September now. And Lo and Reich are going for a run. And this is the first chapter of Hothouse Flower. So we see this from Lo's perspective, and now we have this full context of why Lo broke his sobriety. That was something that we had not seen between the Kiss the Sky and Hothouse Flower timelines. That was not something we saw on page. We just were told what happened. So now we have that context, and we can see where Lo's headspace is and why he's so frustrated with Reich, because Reich is this huge key in helping Lo, but then also helping Jonathan. So it's really hard. It's just a frustrating time for Lo and Reich right now. And then Lo also urges Reich to go on his trip to California to climb the Yosemite Triple Crown, because Lo feels guilty that he needs Reich. That he's tied to him while Lo is being dragged down, because Lo feels very heavy. He talks about how when they're running, Lo can't ever keep up. Reich is always going to be faster than him, but also Reich is still tied to Lo. So in that sense, he still feels like he's holding him back. Reich is just dragging him forward, but he could be going so much further if he wasn't attached to Lo. And there's this guilt in feeling like Reich is only here because he's trying to take care of me, and he wants Reich to do something for himself. But he's going to tell all of this to Reich in a super mean Lauryn Hill fashion. He's like, climb your mountains, do whatever you need to. You've had this plan for a long time, and I'm not going to ruin it for you. I will feel like shit if you don't go. And I'll drink. I can promise you that. I don't need you. I don't fucking need you to hold my hand. I need you to be goddamn selfish like me for once in your life, so I don't feel like utter shit compared to you, all right? So poignant, though. So poignant, so mean, but okay. So then we get so then into the next chapter, this is the time frame of Daisy's going away party before Fashion Week, where they were making breakfast for dinner for her. It's that night. We see Rose pulling Lily into the bathroom, and she blocks Lo out and tells him this is about female menstruation. And again, it breaks my heart because in Hot House Flower, Daisy talks about how she was trying to go to the bathroom to be with her sisters, but they closed the door on her. And we don't even see mention of Daisy in this moment. It's like, that's how invisible she is to her sisters in some moments. Where, yeah, they didn't even notice that she was trying to join them, which just hurts my heart.
And Lily being like, oh, but like this is like a sisterly moment. We should go.
Yeah, and we should go get Daisy, but we didn't even see her.
I have stopped these fingers here from doing some typing in comments on TikTok sometimes. I'm just like, Rowena, be the bigger person. Scroll away. And I'm just like, some people
come talk to your Rose, angry Lily. Come talk to your Rose.
Yeah, just like.
So Rose and Lily are in the bathroom, and Rose asks Lily to take a pregnancy test. Rose thinks she's pregnant and is spiraling because she and Connor agreed that they would not start trying to have kids until she was 35, and this is very early for their timeline. So I would say in the science industry, she's asking Lily to be her negative control sample to prove that these tests work. I was sitting...
Like, I know that I would have to be the person, I need to have it in words. I'm not out here trying to figure out if I'm looking at 1 line, 2 line, plus sign, whatever. I need words.
But yeah, so Rose wants Lily to take this test just to make sure that they work. And Lily agrees to this, but she's also like, Lo can never find out that I ever did this, even if it is just as a way for you to know that it's functional. Even if this comes back negative, Lo can't know about this. His headspace is so fucked up in this moment. It would be so bad for him to hear this. So she and Rose both take a pregnancy test, and Lily's test comes back positive. And she starts to panic, and I have in my notes, see above about Lo. So in her panic, it comes out that she starts babbling to Rose about how much sex she and Lo have been having, and that it all comes out that she and Lo stopped following the suggested rules from Dr. Banning and kept this a secret from everyone. And Rose is so concerned because, fuck, I've been trying to be there for my sister and help her. I was not there for her. I missed the signs when she was at the height of her addiction, but now my sister is kind of falling back into those ways. I'm still fucking missing it.
For Rose, everything is kind of like, I don't want to say everything in her life is a game, but everything is about winning for Rose. Like, Rose always needs to kind of, she wants to be clicked into everything. She wants to be the all-knowing being, so that she would be hating herself because, you know, and like overanalyzing everything. Because it's like, how did I let this slip? This is really what we're talking about. They could keep things under wraps for a very long time. Indeed.
Yes. They are expert secret keepers. So Lily also peeks at Rose's test and notes that Rose's came back as positive too, that she's pregnant. And Rose is not focusing on that. She has a new thing to focus on, and it's Lily has been struggling for years at this point. This happened at the beginning of Thrive, which was was, I think, 2 years ago at this point. So it's something for her to focus on and not the fact that she's pregnant. And then Rose also agrees that they're not going to tell Lo about this news yet, but she affirms that she's going to be there for her sister. And Lily and Rose meet up with Lo and Connor in the kitchen. Daisy and Reich are currently out in the garage, and we know from Hot House Flower what those two are getting up to. And this is in Lo's POV, so we're seeing him observe that all of a sudden Lily is acting a little differently around him, just because now she has this secret she's keeping from him, and she is going to be stressed about it for a while. Lo goes into the garage to tell Reich and Daisy that dinner is ready, and he catches them in the garage on the motorcycle together. And we all know how this fight happened. Lo is just really frustrated because it feels like Reich is constantly lying to him and saying that he doesn't have feelings for Daisy, but in all of their interactions, it feels like they do have feelings for each other. And Lo would just really, really like some honesty from Reich. He doesn't want to be lied to. He wants to feel like Reich can trust him with all of him. And Lo also reiterates that he just really wants Daisy to have a chance to be normal, and he's afraid that being with Reich won't let her be free. And I thought this was interesting. He says, "I want something better for her than my brother." When he says that, do we think this is like he's saying Reich is not good, and he's just saying this out of frustration of, I'm mad at my brother. He's like, she doesn't deserve this kind of dishonest guy? Or is he saying it because Lo wants Reich around and attached to him, and that means that, like, if Reich is attached to Lo, then if Daisy is attached to Reich, she'll be more entrenched in the family drama. Like, when he says, "I want something better for her," I can't tell in this moment which way he's leaning. Is he frustrated or is he worried, kind of thing? Because it's so mean to say that, like, at one point Reich is such a good guy. Yeah. And I don't deserve him, but then being like, Daisy deserves better than Reich.
I mean, definitely being mean is Lo's, I want to say, go as far as to say default setting, but it is a bit like that. If he's under a lot of stress and pressure and stuff like that, he goes mean. I honestly think it's a mixture of the two. Also, obviously, because Reich and Lo are connected, biologically because of Jonathan. So it could also be the whole, he doesn't want to see the poison that comes from the Hale family name to kind of infiltrate further into the Callaways' lives, maybe. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot of different motives to why he would say something like that. I don't think it's necessarily a black and white.
Yeah. I just thought it was really interesting.
It's very interesting, and it is something that honestly I could sit and ponder, and probably when it's about 3 a.m. my time, I would be like, Haley, I've had an epiphany. But yeah, it's like there's a lot of different things to consider and a lot of ways that you can read into what is this like very short statement, which I think is a really cool thing about, I think Krista and Becca did in there. Like, you can evaluate and kind of pick apart these things with different motives in mind.
Right.
Because there's definitely an argument for
both.
For both.
There wasn't a ton of context around that. I was just like, hold on a sec. Yeah, I had already written down notes about Lo feeling like he didn't deserve Reich, so clearly he puts Reich on a certain pedestal at points, but he's over here being like, Daisy doesn't deserve that, so okay. Yeah, where does Reich really stand with you?
Because, Lo idolizes Reich the same kind of way, though there is, like, the complication with the, our relationship began with a lie, X, Y, and Z, but this comparatively the way that Lily idolizes Rose, but in saying that, Lily would never be like, oh, like Rose and Connor shouldn't be together because of, you know what I mean? But also Lily and Lo are very different individuals. Lo very much goes into meanie mode. He getting out of meanie mode because he doesn't like being in meanie mode. Like, you know that he hates when he's in that mode, but he can't help himself. It's like, for me, self-deprecating is my default setting. Just need to call out of that.
All right. So then the chapter ends with Lo and Reich fighting about the fact that these allegations are still out there, and Reich refuses to defend Jonathan to the media, and Lo just feels really alone because Reich isn't fighting alongside him. Lo is fighting by himself at this point, and it's very isolating, and he feels, yeah, I understand where his frustration is coming from, that Reich has been by his side for years at this point, but for some reason this huge moment and situation that's happening around them, Reich all of a sudden is just not helping, and it's putting them all off kilter. So the next chapter, Lo is continuing to act cagey around Lo, because her pregnancy is still a secret between them. She and Rose did go to the doctors and confirmed that they're both pregnant, and Rose is 2 weeks further along than Lily. And Lo can tell that Lily's acting different around him, but they start making out in the living room at a certain point, and it's getting really hot and heavy. That they almost have sex, but then Reich comes in and interrupts them so that he can take Lo to the gym, but Lily is still super aroused by the moment, and it's just a hard time for her, so she's feeling really compulsive, and Lo wants her to come with him to the gym so that he can keep an eye on her. But he has to step out to get ready, and he asks Reich to stay with Lily to keep an eye on her, and Reich tries to sort of commiserate with Lily, like they were about to have sex, they were about to have sex, and to Reich it looked like they were about to have sex. I think he's still under the impression that they're following the blacklist at this point, but he asks her if she's missed public sex and kind of tries to relate to her, like, oh yeah, I think public sex is fun too, like I've done it in a bathroom and under the bleachers at school, and just like trying to help her feel a little normal in some of her sexual experiences. That
I do kind of like the mention of the beach, and then she's kind of like, ugh.
No, too sandy.
No, there's too much.
Yeah. We have our limits, right? Come on.
Come on now.
Yeah. But as they swap these stories, it comes to they both come to the realization that, like, oh, a lot of these stories actually didn't involve Lo. Like, some of them do, but some of them are just these nameless guys. And Lily realizes that they can share these similar experiences, but there is a difference between what she's gone through versus what Reich was doing, and Reich is not a sex addict like her, and she feels alone in this moment, that she really, I don't think she wanted Reich to be addicted, but it would have been nice for her to have someone that understood what she was going through and truly have that shared experience. She realizes that no, Reich is not that person. She's kind of alone. But then Lo comes back down, and she's reminded that he'll always have some sense of what she's going through. He's not a sex addict, but he's still an addict, and can commiserate with her a lot. She's not alone. And next chapter, Lily is getting texts from Lo because he flew out to Paris. Lo was going to go with Reich on his road trip to California, but it got disrupted at the beginning really fast because Daisy called Reich after being kicked out of the fashion show for Paris Fashion Week, and all of the guys flew out to Paris to check on her. So this is after Daisy and Reich finally get together. We know that in Hot House Flower, they arrive and Reich and Daisy get together that day, and then that night, Daisy has a night terror. So this is after that night, because Rose and Lily are both texting their significant others being like, tell us what's going on with Daisy. Rose is, I mean, for as much distance as Lily and Rose have with their sisters, like they're still trying to maintain some closeness. Rose paces in front of me, slamming her fingers violently on the screen of her phone. Raging, yes. Fuming, yes. She growls and looks like she's ready to chuck her phone across the room. Connor won't snap a picture of her and send it to me. How am I supposed to verify that Daisy is okay without evidence? She's just, yeah. I love seeing her in that kind of mode of like, I need answers. And Connor's not helping me. But Lily and Rose really want to join the rest of them out in Paris. This is something that was brought up in Hot House Flower. Like, why are Lily and Rose not showing up? Their sister is struggling right now and going through a lot of hardships. Where are they? And we do get some context that Lily is struggling with her sex addiction at this point. And what she's trying to do is finish college. And she won't finish if she leaves for Paris. So then Lily has to stay. Yeah. But then that only leaves Rose to leave. But if Rose leaves, who does Lily have at that point? Lily needs someone with her too. It fucking sucks that it means her sisters aren't there for her in this moment when she needs them. But Rose is trying to take care of Lily too.
There is also another sister which we supposedly can turn to in times of need.
No, she's... Where is she?
Maria. Look, I get it. But also...
That's what babysitters are for. That's what her husband is for.
What her husband's there for. Her mum, like, do you know what I mean? It's just like, you're an elder sister as well. Like, for me, if there's something up with my siblings, I will drop everything like a hot potato and I'll go. You have to work something. So it's like Rose is in like that really difficult position because it's just like, she wants to, like, they all want to be there for one another, but due to geography, they can't. What happens? I get emotional and angry, and my pen goes, we're fine.
Very animated in this moment. Yeah. So, the next chapter, another hard one. We see Lo at a pub in Paris, and he's very clearly not doing well. The media has been hounding him all day about the molestation rumors. The fact that it has followed him from the U.S. to a foreign country, that is just how it's international news at this point. And it's worse because this is the first time he's heard questions about whether Jonathan has touched Lily. And he hates that Lily could be dragged down into this too. So he's ordered a fizz and whiskey and ignores Connor when he tries to talk to him. So in Hot House Flower, we did see this frustration with Reich and Connor, where Connor calls Reich to help him. He tells him that Lo is drinking at the pub. And Reich is frustrated with Connor of like, why can't you be the bad guy in this moment? And it's very, we at least get a little more to it with Connor is trying to reach Lo, but Lo is not in a headspace where the way that Connor treats him is working. Like, Lo can just tune him out. And granted, this is a bad moment, and some part of you wishes that Connor would just drop that and just let's stop. It's talked about a lot that Reich and Connor handle Lo in different ways. And you kind of wish that Connor would maybe just handle Lo a little bit more like Reich in this moment, but
yeah, that's not who Connor is. Like, yeah, Connor is himself, even though he does put on a front, obviously, for a lot of people, and that gets chipped away throughout the series. But Connor is still Connor. He's not going to be blaspheming. Like he's not going to turn into Reich. Not even with the way that he
Yeah.
cooks meats. Okay, like he can't do it.
I think, too, I wonder what it would be like if all of a sudden Connor were to start acting like Reich after they've kind of had these sort of set roles in his life. Would that push him even further? Like, fuck, I am truly at a bad point if Connor is treating me as harshly as Reich.
And it's like they already, with like kind of the more kiss the sky kind of timeline, they had to deal with their own things of Lo just trying to kind of fully navigate Connor as an individual. So if Connor suddenly changed things up, it's like whoa. It's like we've only just worked through that part. Are you trying to tell me there's now another version of you as well? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's complicated because it's like, yes, you, on one hand, you want Connor to be a little bit more right-like in that moment, but are we able to predict accurately how Lo would respond to that? Not really, because there's a lot of different things that come into play. It's a complicated situation. Don't
It
like
is
it.
so complicated, and we know it's coming. So Reich shows up, and he confronts Lo, and he orders the same drink with the bartender. And even though Lo tries to distract Reich so that he can't see what exactly the bartender puts into his glass, when Reich is getting ready to drink this and to call Lo's bluff, and Lo dies, Reich breaks his sobriety, his 8-year sobriety, I think. And in Lo's head, he says, I think now we're even. For having the better life, for knowing about me for so long and doing nothing, for not standing up for me in the media and ending this torment. And then immediately he feels guilty for feeling that.
Not necessarily on the exact same level, but it's the same sort of thing, like with the thing with like Lily and Rose's thing, where it's like you have those feelings, but then suddenly feeling guilty for it. It's like, in a sense, you are valid for having those initial feelings.
Yeah.
Like you understand why Lo is so upset, but just the way that things kind of.
Yeah. Yes. So it's very difficult, very complicated.
You told me to be on the podcast for one of the most difficult books in the series. Like,
I know complicated seems to be the theme of this this episode. Lo and Reich fight over Lo not being open with his struggles, that he's not talking to Reich, who's his sober coach, and not talking to Lily. Both would talk him down, and Lo is frustrated, and he leaves the conversation. They leave the bar, and Lo still feels weighed down by his guilt, and he turns to apologize to Reich, but then all of a sudden they are swept up in what we now know is the Paris riot, and Connor pulls Lo out of the melee and tries to get him to safety, but Lo doesn't want to leave because Reich is still caught up in this, and Daisy is as well, and he doesn't want to leave them. And he's so shocked that Connor would want to leave him. But Connor assures Lo that Reich is strong and he will be able to find and take care of Daisy. So Lo and Connor escape this fight. And Lo is just, this is a horrible, horrible night for him, because he's dealing with, of the chapters previously where he was dealing with this low day of being hounded by the media, potentially having Lily dragged into this, breaking his sobriety once again, causing his brother to break his sobriety, and now going through this very dangerous and traumatic fight, and abandoning his brother and his girlfriend's little sister. He's in a very bad place. So I fully understand. He talks with Connor at this moment like, I just can't be here. I don't know how to be here in this moment. It's just, there are too many feelings. There was too much going on with this day. Too many bad things. to try and handle, and it is so hard for him. And Connor can tell all of this, that it's really bad. So he takes Lo to a drugstore, gets some meds, and puts him to sleep. And the chapter ends with, every moment of my life has been a mountain that I struggled to climb. And it's just, God, this was such a hard day. So then Connor calls Lily so that she can talk to Lo before the meds kick in. Lily and Rose already know about this riot, and now they know that everyone was involved, Daisy especially. Daisy's currently in the hospital, and the guys are in the waiting room to hear what actually happened to Daisy. And they're very ready to pack up their bags and fly out to Paris to be with their sister. But on the phone, Lo confesses that he fucked up, and Lily tells him it doesn't matter. And Lo is so dejected, and he tells her he doesn't think he can overcome his addiction. But she assures him, we're in Earth 616. This isn't an alternate universe. We're going to have our happy ending. It's just going to take us a little while to get there. And I love seeing it repeated back. Just especially in this type of moment too, where again, I was just going through this moment of, I don't want to be here. This is absolutely a moment where I'd want to be in some alternate universe and not have to experience these horrible moments in my current reality. And Lily is in this, and Lo was telling her this in her low moment, and Lily is here to tell Lo in his low moment. You know, our reality is fucked up, but we're gonna wind up with the best happy ending. They have the strength to push through these fucked up moments. They're strong individuals that have their flaws, but they will be able to defeat their addictions, fight them, and push through to their happy endings. And there's also another parallel where he's like, I want to hold you. You are. It's just like in Ricochet when she was struggling in the bathroom at the yacht while he was in rehab. He's holding her now. I wouldn't be here without you. We aren't connected by our addictions, but by our childhood. Souls fused together from the very, very start. Absolutely. Soulmates. So the guys and Daisy have now left Paris, and they've officially started their road trip out west. And Lo is still struggling to truly apologize to Reich about everything that happened after that night in Paris. Like fighting with him, causing Reich to break his sobriety. Lots to apologize for. Come on now, Lo. Yeah. But Daisy is in a gas station bathroom trying to change the bandages on her face during the Paris riot. She got cut and has a really big scar or cut on her face that will eventually leave a very permanent scar. And the tape is stuck to her stitches, so she's really struggling. So Reich steps in to help her, and Lo is there to watch. And it's very obvious to him that something is going on between Reich and Daisy. At this point, he can truly sense that something has changed between them. And even confronts them about it. He asks if he's missed something, and they deny. And it just makes Lo so mad. Reich is refusing to be honest with him. And he once said that I stand vulnerable in front of Connor, someone who wears layers and layers of armor while I bear all of myself to him. Somewhere along the way, they switched places. I wonder what it'll take for him to finally see it. Once again, we have that theme of vulnerability. Okay, so now the entire group is on the road trip out west. Rose and Lily finally met up with the rest of them so that they could finally check in on their sister. But the media also found them while they were out in the Smoky Mountains. So they split up. Reich and Daisy took one car, and Lily, Rose, Connor, and Lo all took a different car to hopefully lose the media tail. And they're now out in Roswell. And they're wandering around, which we love seeing Lily and Lo obsessing over the aliens for no particular reason. But so Lily wonders out loud if Reich and Daisy are getting it on, and it takes Lo a moment to understand what she's talking about, who she's talking about. And eventually he questions her, like, if they were together truly, why aren't they telling anyone? And Lily points out that it's probably because Lo would not handle it well, which, fair. He's not given any indication that he would handle it well at this point. So, like, on the one hand, I understand his frustration with Reich about standing vulnerable, but also, yeah, you have not given any indication that you would receive this news as anything other than horrible, devastating, world-ending news. And who would want to tell you that? And the chapter ends with Lily feeling uneasy at the amount of tension that's growing between Lo and Reich. So the next chapter, Lily and Lo are stopped at a gas station, and Lo has come across several magazine headlines, and they're causing him to just spiral. The first one is about Sarah Hale's tell-all interview, where she did fuck all to dissuade the allegations about Jonathan. The second one questions whether Lily's sex addiction could have been caused by Jonathan potentially molesting her too. And the last one is Daisy and Reich were caught kissing with picture evidence as they were hiking near Devil's Tower. And Lo is just so mad at Reich. He says, I don't need him to be a 24/7 sober coach. I need him to be my brother. Which I love that, at the very least, that we see this true transition of Reich is my family. I didn't have this brother for most of my life, but I have him now, and I want him to be my brother. I don't need him to handle me with kid gloves. I just want to have this open, honest relationship with my blood relation, which, fair. Yeah. He also says his lies are like validations. You're too weak to trust Lauren. You're just a little fucking kid. Why would I tell you anything important? And that's heartbreaking. So going from loving the one moment to hating this moment is, I can also understand where he's coming from with that. And then Reich and Daisy finally meet up with the group, and Lo confronts Reich. The tension, this has just come to a boil. Lo wants to know why Reich feels that he has it so bad, when in comparison, Lo grew up with the more abusive parent, and that at least Reich had Sarah, who seemed to love him unconditionally. But Reich admits to him that it was just so hard for him to hide his true identity. He felt like no one's family because he was a Meadows and everyone else was a Hale. And Lo starts to sympathize with the idea that no one was claiming Reich, which had to be pretty hard on a child too. Reich also finally tells Lo that he believes him when it comes to the allegations about Jonathan, which, again, we see, these are chapters that we've seen in Hot House Flower. So we're like so relieved at the end of this chapter. Finally, we got that out in the air. Reich and Lo have come to this understanding with Jonathan. And then right back to it. That bruise right there, that's for fucking my girlfriend's little sister. And you're like, fuck, crap, we still have to go through a whole other fight. We have to go through, it feels like we're going through 4 fights. We went through one fight in Hot House Flower, and we had to go through another fight, and now we're doing this. That was so nice, baby. So the fight is reignited, and Lo is just so mad that Reich would ever step near Daisy. He wanted Daisy to just be so far removed from the rest of the group and all of the drama and baggage that they have. But Reich tells Lo that he fell in love with Daisy, and it hurt to see her with other people, and he couldn't take it anymore. And that just gets to Lo. He knows exactly how it feels because he went through the same thing with Lily. I spent years loving a girl who opened her door to every guy but me, and there isn't one day that I would wish that kind of torment on my brother or a friend. And he also can see that Daisy is absolutely shattered, crying into her sister's arms too. So it's very clear that Reich loves Daisy and Daisy loves Reich, and Lo understands, yes, they have true feelings for each other, and there's no way that he could try and break that up. So he's not going to fight Reich anymore. He still has to get his head wrapped around the idea of the two of them together, but at least they've reached
Processing
this
that
kind
he
of
won't
peace.
be inflicting pain
Yeah.
purposefully on them.
Yeah. So there's this saying that Reich and Lowe have in, they mention it in Hot House Flower, that the hard things are usually the right things. And I think it would, it's hard almost for Reich to be with Daisy. Like, it would just be so easy for the two of them to be apart. There are just so many roadblocks that have been thrown up in front of them, but Reich, they continued to pursue the hard thing, which was being together. And I think Lo can also kind of appreciate and understand that.
Mm.
That is something, that is a philosophy that he and Reich share. So the next chapter, Lo and Daisy are sitting in Jonathan Hale's limo. They have returned from California. And basically, when they landed in Philly, they found out that Samantha had called the police and had Reich arrested for statutory rape. So Reich is currently in jail, and Jonathan is getting him out while Lo and Daisy are waiting out in the limo. And Lo starts to feel this shift in his relationship with Daisy, where it's not just she's my girlfriend's little sister. There's more to it. He's taking care of his brother's girlfriend, someone who's very important to him, and the way that Reich would protect Lily in moments when Lo isn't around, he wants to do the same for Reich. When Reich isn't around, he wants to take the responsibility of taking care of Daisy. It's like a step above trying to be just her like brotherly figure. Growth. We love to see it, Lo. And Reich is finally released from jail, and when they get in the car, he says that Jonathan has an announcement that he would like to share, which is that Jonathan is going to get sober. And this is huge news for Lo, and he doesn't even care that he that Jonathan never found the strength to get sober for Lo, that he would only make this promise to bring Reich into the family. He doesn't care about any of that. He's just really, really ready to see his dad be sober. So then everyone is attending a Sunday luncheon, and the guys are currently in one of the studies, and Lily has kind of joined them under the radar. Lily can be part of the guys group without being noticed. But it's basically just a quick chapter seeing the guys interacting. Reich has attended in casual wear, and they're all really trying to help him put a better foot forward with the Callaways. So they're like offering their clothes to help him look better, but also they're just chit-chatting, and Lily can sense that Lo is in a much better headspace, and she wonders if today could be the day that she tells him that she's pregnant, because he still doesn't know. And Samantha winds up not showing up to this luncheon because she's a fucking horrible person and a coward, and we don't like her. I don't like her. So they want to discuss Rose's baby and how Jonathan and Hale Co. can provide everything she'd need for the future Callaway, Nick's Cobalt.
No, it's like, no, I think
Cobalt.
not.
But it circles around to when Lo has a kid, and he shuts down the idea super fast. He tells the entire table that if Jonathan has any dreams of the Hale Empire growing, it'll come from Reich's side. Lo never intends on having kids. I will never subject a child to this fucking torture. I'd rather be burned alive than live knowing I put someone through this kind of hell. And it is just so devastating for Lily to hear this. And it's awful because Rose and Connor know at this point that Lily is pregnant, and they're like gauging her reaction to this. So the following chapter is movie night at the Princeton house, and Connor is currently trying to convince Lo that he and Lily should move in with Rose and Connor when they eventually find a house closer to Philly. And Lo doesn't want to because Rose and Connor are growing their family, and like he'll feel weird intruding on that, but also he can recognize that Lily is sad about this idea that they're not going to have kids, and doesn't want it in her face that Rose is having this baby when she can't have a baby. But it devolves into a fight, and then they suddenly realize that Lily is no longer present. So Lo runs off to find her, afraid that she's hurt herself, because again, she was going to the bathroom, and if Lily's in the bathroom for an extended period, it's usually because she's in a low moment. And he does eventually find her, and she confesses that she has something to tell him, and first thoughts are that she cheated on him, but she finally tells him that she is pregnant, and he realizes how much he kind of backed Lily into this corner of not being able to tell him, with his constant insistence that they can't have kids. But he understands that he has a community around him and Lily, and that no matter what, they'll be able to handle having a kid. He wants to do right by her, and it doesn't matter what his feelings were on having kids before this. They're having this baby. Like, that was before he knew, but he knows now, and things have changed. He and Lily will be able to find the strength to be parents and be good parents to their kid, that their kid is not going to be an addict like them. They'll be able to prevent that and make sure that their kid has a happy life. And the chapter ends with the perseverance to do anything, to be anything, to thrive. Someday that word will belong to us too. After years of coming up short, it's all I've ever wanted. You're doing it. I feel like it. You will thrive. I believe in you guys so much.
Phoebe agrees.
Thank you, babe.
Yeah, like, that's an emotional moment. And then Phoebe's like, what she said.
I know. So then Lily and Lo are taking a shower together, and they come to this new normal that it's Lily and Lo and someone else. Wonder who that someone else is. I can't wait to meet that someone else. So then the guys are now in the kitchen while the sisters are in the living room. And this is, yet again, another scene from Hot House Flower. This is the moment where Daisy opens up to her sisters about everything that she's been going through with her insomnia and her depression and PTSD. And meanwhile, Reich is telling Lo and Connor what happens, that the cameraman broke into the townhouse and that her prep school friends tormented her. And Lo realizes that through this trauma, Reich was always there for Daisy, and that's how he and Daisy truly began to fall in love. And I think it clicks more with him that, like, there was no way that he'd ever be able to separate them. That no, their love is very true. It just solidifies this idea with Lo that Reich and Daisy aren't just some passing fling. Like, this is very serious, and they're very devoted, and in love with each other. And then Lily comes in, and we can see just how sad and guilty she is for the part her addiction played. It's not Lily's fault, but it's hard. It's really hard for her to separate the fact that, like, something about her caused this pain in her sister, and she feels really, really guilty. And she tells this to Lo, and he turns to Connor and asks him if his offer to live together still stands, and they decide that all 6 of them should move into a house together so that Daisy will feel a better sense of security, and Lily and Lo can continue to have the community and their support system around them. So then Lo and Reich are at the gym together one morning, and Reich tells him that he's planning to do an interview and address the molestation rumors. And he tells Lo that he's doing this for himself and for Lo. And then the core 6 finally officially move into their new home in a gated neighborhood. And Lily is out at the mailbox to collect her college diploma. And she and Lo are just so proud of her for being able to finish this big thing. She was a little late to graduating, but she still did it. She did it without cheating. There are also so many other big accomplishments for them to celebrate too. And then while decorating the tree in their front yard, Lo brings up baby names. At the beginning of everything, he empathized most with Quicksilver for being the son of an undesirable man, for being rebellious and wishing that life would just hurry up already. He's not perfect by any means, and that's why Lo loves him. Every imperfection, every flaw. He is a hero in my eyes because of each one. Maximoff for a boy. Remember when we said that the best Ravenclaws are the ones who can cheer for the Gryffindors and the Hufflepuffs? Luna for a girl.
This really emotional moment then. It's perfect. Just don't tell Rose and Connor that it's because of them. Like, it's just like emotion, but then, just so we're clear, Rose and Connor cannot think that this is about them. This is about us.
Yes.
Honestly, like, I remember reading for the first time and I was there going, and then I was like, ha ha ha, like, laughing mid-crying. So I'm just like, of course, Lo had to be like, right, just so we're clear.
I think those are great names, guys. I think Maximoff and Luna will be really great people. I just have this feeling in my gut.
Gut feeling.
Yes. So, also the end of this chapter.
That it's not, it's not playing pretend anymore. Is that line?
This isn't pretend anymore, is it? We spent 3 years playing house together before we became an official couple. Lines between our relationship and our worlds have always blurred, like one foot in an alternate reality and one in Earth 616. No love. Lo tilts my chin up so I meet his swirling amber eyes. This is real. Doing great. Okay, we've come so very far. So far. Okay, so then the epilogue, the core six have a house meeting. And Rose lays down a couple of house rules about keeping the house clean, and that
crazy scented.
yes, they're very racy centered. Reich is like, I'm feeling ganged up on, but also don't have sex in the hot tub. And then Connor brings his news, which is that they're planning on announcing that Lily is pregnant, telling the public that Lily is pregnant, and Connor has a contact that tells him what the media perception will be when they announce this. And it's that it's very likely the media is going to speculate whether the baby is Lowe's or Reich's. And I am so fucking furious. Goddamn, Melissa. Ever putting this out into the universe, giving credibility to this rumor that truly refuses to die. And we see it's not just Lily, Lo, and Reich that it affects. At this point, it's now Daisy too, because we see Daisy, she's whispering to Reich, we're together. So now it calls into question whether, like, what's the legitimacy in Reich and Daisy's relationship? She should be so happy and joyful after all of the trials and tribulations that she went through, and they're going to tear that down. And also importantly, now there's a child that will come into this world, and his or her paternity, their paternity is going to be called into question. And
obviously we know how far along this,
how many years this will go on for.
It controls people and affects people for.
Makes me so mad. Fuck you, Melissa. Fuck you, Wendy, for continuing to perpetuate this rumor.
Again, it's this whole thing of happy, 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 awesome, happy, dumpster fire.
Yep. And yeah, so then all of the couples kind of go off and have privacy to talk about this, because this is kind of big news. This clearly affects several people right now. So Lily questions whether it's the right thing for them all to be living together, considering these rumors. And Lo tells her, if I've learned anything in the past 2 years, it's that we need to be surrounded by the people we love, which is, I sound like a broken record at this point, but like, it's huge. Like, they used to isolate themselves, and the fact that this hard thing is coming, that this horrible rumor is out there and it's going to affect them, but they're still being like, no, we need our community around us, and I would rather be with them and fight through it than isolate ourselves and maybe get rid of it. It's not worth it. And he says that one day at a time, that's how we're going to take this. Life moves too quickly. I don't want to speed through a single moment. Not anymore. After going through so many lows where he wished that like he could be in an alternate reality, that he could just not be present for that one moment. No. He wants to enjoy every second. And I love that. And that is the end of Thrive. Do you want to summarize what this first bonus scene is?
I think so. Okay, let's refer to my Bible. I love how the top note, Daisy's pants that say "Easy Tiger." Important.
It's very important.
It was like the others noting that Daisy's already facing negative effects of like the show, like because I feel like there were things with that because Daisy was keeping things in for so long that they are getting these little glimpses at her birthday party, being kind of like, oh, something's amiss here. Like, and the whole thing with the cherry fizz being poured on her head because somebody wanted like a little bit of screen time or something like that, which is just, it's completely unnecessary. But it's the whole thing that she's even at her own birthday party, which is being like people are around filming and stuff like that because the princess is a filly, that she's still being exploited and people are wanting to have the, honestly, like 2 minutes of fame. It's not even 5 minutes of fame. It's 2 minutes. The person who thought it was revolutionary to pour a can of fizzy pop over her head. Good job.
That's not a nice bonus.
No. So yeah, they're playing the game of was it eating? I've never played the game. It's like eating a bit of lemon and then saying a word that's meant to be, a bit crude maybe or just funny. Whoever laughs has to jump into the pool. And then Lily's saying penis or something. And then like nobody laughed. And it's like, come on,
Please.
people. Yeah. And then Rose's one, honestly, it was actually mostly me noting down all of the books that were listed. Yeah.
I will need to go back and read. I apologize that I am unprepared. For those that are listening, I have a good excuse. Listen, I got the arc for Destructively Mine, and I am currently trying to read that right now, and I forgot to read the bonus scenes for Thrive. I'm sorry.
I don't blame you. If I had Destructively Mine, I would have eaten it up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Probably would be coming to you now with 0 sleep.
And then the second bonus in here is Rose spends the night at Connor's apartment, which takes place during chapter 4 of Thrive. I did read this one. I'm sorry that I had already read this one and I skimmed through it again. I just did not read the first one. But this one is basically the first time that Rose ever spends a night in Connor's bed. There were a couple of instances, but there were like extenuating circumstances around them. The first one was when they were in Cancun, and obviously there were other people. And then the second time was after Sebastian betrayed her in Addicted for Now. And Rose was in a bad headspace, and there was not going to be any sexy time happening then. But this time, things could happen, but Connor confronts her and is like, Rose, I know you're a virgin. Why didn't you tell me that you're a virgin? And she's like, how did you find out? And he tells her that Lo told him. I'm gonna fucking kill him. I'd be pissed at Lo too. I cannot believe that, that he would give. And also that Connor has been holding on to this fact about her for so long. But she feels very off balance. We see her feeling really off balance with this like relationship dynamic between them, yeah. That she has zero upper hand with him. But I
Because of the
think
game of
it's really
Scrabble.
cute.
Like, she's just like, God damn it. Like, one game of Scrabble. Which, again, is the whole thing with Rose. Like, Rose likes to win. And she's just like, for God's sake.
Yeah, and then the bonus ends basically with Connor like inching his and Rose's relationship forward. Very, very minuscule, but it's fun to see where they start out knowing where they end. Okay, so time for trivia questions.
Yeah.
Alright.
It is one of those things because I do kind of do the whole, like I've made Krista and Becca like my whole life, and then it's like, prove it. And it's like, look,
It's fine.
this was my second time reading Thrive. I hadn't read it since January last year, so I'm like, oh my God. The only ones that I've reread are up to now Thrive, but before that was Hot House Flower. Like the later books, I've read them once. I've bawled my eyes out. It's on the internet. I don't know what to tell you.
No, it's fine. I mean, I'm over here like, I've read these books. It's in the double digits now, and I still fucked up one of the questions that I wrote for Ricochet, and I still can't get over that one. It's fine.
Like,
All right, ready? Question 1. Who do Lily and Lo dress up as for Comic-Con? A. Hellion and Emma Frost. B. Hellion and X-23. C. Cyclops and Jean Grey. Or D. Cyclops and Emma Frost.
D.
Yes, D.
There is a reference though to Jean Grey though, because there's the whole like, oh my God, you're cheating on Jean Grey, and it's like they've clearly not caught up. Like they're not up to whatever. There was some kind of thing where Lily's like buffoons. They know nothing.
That's why I put it in there, so that if anyone were to search through the book, the name would still pop up, but you'd have to actually read that bit to know. So bonus questions. Who do Rose and Connor dress up as for Comic-Con?
Oh, well, it's Batman and Catwoman.
Correct.
And because Rose does the whole thing of licking, there's like the licking. It's like, has she seen that part, or like is she just like is she trying to get into character? Or is this Rose licking Connor? Like Lily's kind of like,
Who do Reich and Daisy dress up as for Comic-Con?
Okay, Daisy. It's like I'm not fully in. So Lilo or some I don't know. Has it from Fifth Element is Daisy? I think she's wearing like the orange thing, whatever. And then Reich is just being Reich, which is of course Green Arrow. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's just kind of like it's one of those things where you're like, right, you could have dressed up as someone else, but Reich's just like, no. I'm like, okay. It's fine.
Joke. There's an episode of Parks and Rec. There are a couple of episodes of Halloween episodes of Parks and Rec, and in the first one, Ron Swanson dresses up as a pirate, and then we get a couple years later another Halloween episode, and Ron Swanson shows up as a pirate, and they're like, Ron, wasn't that the Halloween costume you wore last year? And he goes, yes, this is my Halloween costume. And I feel like Reich would be the same way. Yes, this is my costume. Okay. And okay. And last bonus question, who do Sam and Poppy dress as for Comic-Con?
I was about to say, I don't remember Poppy's outfit being mentioned. I know that Maria had a hissy fit, which is why Sam was late. Wait, no. Let me regroup. This is my regroup. Black Widow.
Yes.
Is that one?
Poppy is dressed as Black Widow. Sam's is really easy. Just think of his nickname, Lo's nickname.
Is it it's Captain America, right?
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah.
I was having a moment because I was just like, I know that he's referred to as Captain America. I'm like, did they throw in something else to be like, sucks to be you?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. That one was tricky.
You know, it's because I don't really care for Poppy that much, so I'm just kind of like...
We're not paying attention to that.
I paid attention to everyone else's outfit, but not Poppy. Sorry.
You still got it.
I still got it, but I was like, oh. Okay.
All right. Question 5. I'm so good at picking up signs. I know when someone is flirting with me. Redacted. Who says this to whom? Is it A, Lily to Lo, B, Daisy to Reich, C, Daisy to Rose, or D, Rose to Connor?
I want to say it's D, Rose to Connor, is it? not at
It
the
is.
party. Yeah.
When they came home from.
The work do. And Connor's
Yeah.
like flirting, and Rose's like, I know these things. I know my shit.
Okay. Question 6. What nicknames does Connor pick for bowling? A. Connor as Zeus, Rose as Hera, Reich as Hades, Lo as Dionysus. B. Connor as Zeus, Rose as Athena, Reich as Apollo, Lo as Dionysus. C. Connor as Zeus, Rose as Athena, Julian as Hades, Lo as Dionysus. Or D. Connor as Zeus, Rose as Hera, Julian as Apollo, Lo as Dionysus. I can repeat.
Definitely obviously, yeah, I'm about to say like Lo is definitely Dionysus. Like I remember that one, and there was
all of those options have Lo as Dionysus,
yeah,
unfortunately.
exactly. So that's why when you were saying the option, I was like, damn it. And I know that there was the whole thing with Julian being like, oh, when do I be? And I think like Lois and that was like, well, you would be Hades because you belong.
Yeah, you got it. Julian is. There's only one option with Julian as Hades, so it was. Yeah, it's hard when you can't see it, but yes, there's only one option with Julian as Hades. Yeah. So Connor as Zeus, Rose as Athena, Julian as Hades, Lo as Dionysus.
Yeah.
That's the correct answer.
Yeah. They're in the just very, very slowly.
Yes. You did get it pretty quickly. All right, question 7. What book of Connor's does Lily read to put her to sleep? A. Kafka. B. Foucault. C. Faulkner. Or D. Nietzsche.
See, Nietzsche is in the bonus thing. So sorry, what were the other options? I've already blanked out.
Kafka, Foucault, or Faulkner.
I don't think it's Foucault, which means that it is.
It's not Foucault. Okay. We've ticked off one.
So then it's Kafka.
Kafka, Faulkner, Nietzsche. Or did you cross out Nietzsche too?
I already crossed out Nietzsche because I thought he's in the bonus thing.
Okay. So Faulkner or Kafka?
I'm just going to say Kafka because also Faulkner was in the bonus.
Yeah, no. I think there's another scene where Rose and Connor are talking and they're talking about a theory and Lo's like, stop talking about Faulkner. And she goes, it's Foucault.
Yeah.
That we're talking about.
But no. Like the books that are mentioned in the bonus, but someone isn't mentioned.
Yeah, but yes, it is Kafka. And the only reason I included this one as a bonus question, because there's someone on the Fizzle Force who asked, they were like, I'm kind of interested in whatever it was that she was reading, but like, who was it?
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, Kafka.
I feel a little bit like a fake because I feel like I don't get the answer straight away because I go, well, I know it can't be this one and it can't be this one. I can just imagine people being like, fake fan.
No, that just proves that you know it more because you're over here like, well, I remember this being mentioned in this scene and this being mentioned in this scene. So obviously you have the knowledge of all of it. Come on now.
Well, it just doesn't, yeah. And yeah, I knew it wasn't Nietzsche. So I was like, right, you can already be eliminated.
All right, question 8. We're going to have our blank blank. It's just going to take us a little while to get there. Fill in the blank.
Well, it's like the happy ending. They're going to have the happy ending, but it's just going to take them longer to get there. It's 616.
Yes. And question 9. The perseverance to do anything, to be anything, to blank. Someday that word will belong to us too. Fill in that blank.
I just realized you hadn't finished the thing, and I was like, thrive.
Nope, you got it. That is 100% on your quiz. All the gold stars for you.
Yay! Yeah, I was thinking other titles. Actually, one of the titles I obviously was at the end of one of the chapters later on in the book, but I won't say which one it is because that is important at a later time. But there are things where I was kind of like, oh, you've mentioned this word and you've mentioned this word. I'm like, huh, I got you. Oh, yeah, I got 100%. I think I got 100% last time as well. Somebody contact Rose and say that someone else is winning too.
Award Miss High, a second Miss Highest honors.
I'll take it.
All right, so that concludes the Thrive discussion. Thank you all so very much for listening. And until next time, continue to stay addicted to Krista and Becca's writing like us.
Always.